Well, hello, beautiful people. It's me, Sam, from your friendly neighborhood Dunder Mifflin Paper Company, and I'm here on this Monday talking about Across the Spider-Verse. I know you're probably getting tired of it, but I just had to go over the numbers with you, the box office numbers on it. And also, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. You need to watch it. Even if you don't love it, I promise you, you're going to come out of it at least liking it. I've already watched it twice. I cannot wait to watch it a third time and maybe even a fourth time. So let's get right into it. So, at one point, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was looking to make around $80 million opening weekend. And then it was said, oh, it's going to make 90. But then the projections were like, oh, you know what? The final projections, it's going to make around 110 million. This movie made 120,500,000 dollars. That's 120.5 mil. That is insane. And not only is it doing good with the numbers, I mean, critically, this movie is like at a what? Let me see here on Rotten Tomatoes, because that's what I usually use. They've been pretty good at getting a lot more accurate. Critically, this movie is at 95%, and audience rating is at 96%. That is insane. That is insane. And to compare, I mean, you have, let's see here, let's look at Into the Spider-Verse. All right, so the Across the Spider-Verse was at 95% critically, and then 96% audience score, which is pretty damn amazing. Let me get right here. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. All right. Let's see here. All right. Critically, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was slightly a little more, 97%, not much difference. And then the audience score was 94%. Now, for the first movie, the critics loved that one more. And for the second movie, the audiences love it more. But there's not much of a difference. I mean, it's very slight. Now, let's look at Spider-Man No Way Home, because a lot of people are comparing the two. Let's look at here. Let's look at here. And of course, I mean, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse isn't going to, in terms of box office numbers, it's not going to match Spider-Man No Way Home's numbers. It's just not. Let's take a look. So, Spider-Man No Way Home, the critic rating for this one was 93%. 93%. And the audience score, which almost everyone loved it, was 98%. So, I mean, for the most part, all of them are in the 90s, which is pretty great. And to compare in terms of box office numbers for Into the Spider-Verse, the first one, and Across the Spider-Verse, the first one opened with the opening weekend of $35.4 million. Let me repeat that. 35.4 million opening weekend compared to 120.5 million. You know what that tells me is not only did this movie have word of mouth, because I guarantee you like 40 million, because I'm assuming this was going to make around 80, 90. So around maybe 30, 40 million of the 120 million was because of word of mouth. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, because this movie is just, people have just been talking and talking and talking about it. Now, comparing it to the first movie, the 35.4 million and then the 120 million, another big thing I think it was is that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse kind of gathered a cult following, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, I think over the years, more people watched it. They realized, wow, this is a great movie. I mean, even myself, the first time I watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. But I watched it more and more, and the more I watched it, I appreciated it, and I loved it. And for me, it's one of the best superhero movies ever made, and one of the best animated movies ever made. And now I'm happy to report adding Across the Spider-Verse to that list. Now, in terms of like the budget, I believe the first movie had a budget of 90 million. Now this one, get this, because if you look at the movie, you're gonna think, man, this movie had to have been around 200 million budget wise. 100 million budget wise. That we're talking just a 10 million bump. 10 million bump in terms of the budget. This movie looked like it was made for 200 or even 300. I mean, for God's sakes, Fast X was like 360 million budget wise and does not even come close visually to the type of movie that Across the Spider-Verse is. Another thing it beat is it's now the second largest domestic opening of 2023. It's following right behind Super Mario Brothers. The second place it belonged to Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that debuted with 118 million, but it took over that, and barely. 118, which was Guardians, and then Across the Spider-Verse 120.5 million. That's impressive. Very impressive. Very much indeed. All right. So with The Little Mermaid, comparing it with The Little Mermaid that came out. So The Little Mermaid's a little different. Because it had a 4-day Memorial Weekend. And in the 4-day Memorial Weekend, it had about 117.5 million, which is really good. But if we're just talking with like the regular weekend, it had a box office number of a $95.5 million, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the top 10 box office numbers for the weekend. At number 10, we have You Hurt My Feelings, a little Indian film, $770,000. Number 9, Sugar, made $1.2 million. At number 8, we have The Machine, which came in with $1.8 million. At number 7, we have the comedy with Robert De Niro, About My Father. It came in at $2.1 million. Still hanging in there, the Super Mario Brothers at number 6 brought in an additional $3.4 million. And starting the top 5, Fast X is barely in the top 5. And they brought in a not so great, but an okay $9.2 million. At number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, still sticking into that top 5 at $10.2 million. The Boogeyman, which I thought was pretty solid. It wasn't great, but it was pretty solid. At number 3, it brought in a solid $12.3 million. And at number 2, The Little Mermaid, which brought in a $40.6 million second weekend, it's a pretty big dip, if I'm not mistaken. It dipped nearly 60%, which is not good. Kind of want to keep it at like around 40. If you're gonna dip, at least no more than 40. But still, it's decent, 40.6. And at number 1, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, $120.5 million. Wow. It's the little film that could. And as I said in my spoiler review, I love this movie, and I think the more I'm going to watch it, the more I'm going to love it. It's a masterpiece in its genres. It's just great. I absolutely loved it. I think everyone should watch it at least a few times just to take in everything, just to take in all the beauty and the mastery that is taking place, because everything is top notch here. Every single damn thing is top notch here. So guys, that's the numbers for Monday. I always like to look at how films did over the weekend, and I'm looking forward to Transformers Rise of the Machines, because apparently I've heard some solid things And then, of course, the following week is going to be a huge week. We got Asteroid City, Wes Anderson's new film. You have Disney Pixar's Elemental, which has not been getting great reviews, but I'm still going to watch it. And of course, one of the biggest superhero movies to come out in the past couple of years, The Flash. People have been anticipating it. I'm pretty excited to see it. But I just don't know if it's gonna. I just don't see it beating out my love for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I love this movie, and if you can't tell, this is my favorite movie of the year so far. It's really great. So, guys, thank you for so much. I didn't want to make this a very long video. I didn't want to make it into like a 20-minute video, so I'm gonna keep it at just under 12 minutes. But let me know what you think of the numbers. What were you surprised? Were you not surprised? I know I was rooting for it. I had a feeling it was gonna make at least 110 million, but it surprised me when it made 120.5 million. So, guys, thank you so much. Take care out there. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment, leave a like, and leave a subscribe. I appreciate you all, everything you do. Thank you so much.